Welcome to the podcast in your skull, where the thoughts you try to bury come out to fucking scream.
All right, good. I was gonna say, like, why is it taking so long for it to turn on? Yesterday, I actually had I had a musician friend of mine on, and my internet decided to kick off 10 minutes before we started. So
Of
I was
course.
like, oh no, please don't do that again. But anyways, Nicole, thank you for coming on. I think I met you through one of the group things on Facebook. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I think it was one of the Gothic ones, or God knows. I know I'm on a few of them because I'm trying to look for like-minded people.
Yeah, I
So
think it was Goths Against Cancel Culture.
yeah, that's like a weird forum.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of it's good, but there's people on there that I'm just like, this is not a dating site. This is you guys are gross. You
Right.
know, the guys are. The girls, I get why they're doing it. The guys are just predatorial to me. I'm like, just bring it down a couple of notches.
Yeah.
But anyways, sorry for going into that, but yeah, Nicole, I mean, your artwork, that recent piece, what was it, the girl with blue hair?
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
commission for a book cover.
Yeah, that's amazing, and um it's all actual art, tangible art, correct?
Correct. Yeah,
That's awesome.
I haven't quite not that I'm not familiar with digital mediums like Procreate. I just have never gotten into them, never really used them a whole lot. I'm still back in the hand drawn, like even when I talked to the customer, I was like, I don't know if I'm your person. Like I only do things still on paper. And he's like, no, that's actually exactly what I'm looking for. So it worked out really well.
That's incredible. Both of us are becoming more and more rare, because of digital media. Like I was telling you off air, I'm still doing a lot with writing, creative writing. I still do graphic design, draw and stuff like that, and play music. But with the invention of AI, which I definitely want to talk to you about, um, we're kind of looking at that market's getting tighter and tighter for us.
Most definitely.
Yeah. So, kind of give us a rundown, in regards to like some of your, your history, and I know like that reel that you put up about you're doing artwork because you want to keep the demons busy. I would like for you to elaborate on that idea that you put up there, because that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's kind of because sometimes I feel like the more stressed out, dark I am feeling, sometimes I feel like my ideas are better or I have more of them or they come more fluidly to me during those periods, which has kind of led me to believe that that's, one of those coping mechanisms for getting those thoughts out, dealing with that stress, and kind of working through it, as it were.
Yeah, I mean that's where I think true creativity comes from. Anyways, is like a dark spot in our life, or a traumatic time, or whatever it is. I think that's where beauty really lies, and I brought that up actually yesterday on the other podcast. Um, but I mean, kind of rolling back in like from give us kind of a timeline, like when you first started getting some of your work out, and what was the initial things that you did?
So I went to college in the Twin Cities for fine art. And I got lucky enough, right as I was a senior in college, a professor of mine who actually recently passed away referred me to a client for a series of commission paintings. And that was kind of my first experience truly making and selling art. And then from there, I got pretty immersed in the Minneapolis art scene and was actually a volunteer and had studio space at the Soap Factory Gallery in Dinkytown for a number of years. And
That's an actual name of a town, Dinkytown.
it's a part of Minneapolis. Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
it's basically where the U of M is, the campus.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
It's like a nickname for that part of Minneapolis.
Oh,
A-
gotcha.
And did several applications for juried shows. So I've shown kind of all over the Midwest over the years. And then kind of during that time was pretty immersed in, I did alternative modeling for a number of years with a lot of local photographers. So that kind of got me more immersed in the art world, working with those photographers. And I don't necessarily know how much it got my name out there, but that is kind of how the art world works, is once you're in amongst those creative people, it definitely helps spread your name out to possible clients. And yeah, done that basically pretty steady. There was definitely a period of time where I focused primarily on showing in galleries, which I think was kind of a falsehood, because I think it's kind of a scam in some ways, showing in galleries, because they take so much of a percentage of your sale that you have to price gouge your work just to make the same amount as if you bought a painting directly from me.
Oh wow. Yeah,
So,
that's like that
like
across.
there's galleries out there taking 40-50% from an artist. So if you wanted to commission me and I priced you at $800, I'm looking at having to price that same painting for $1,600 just to make the 800 that I had wanted. So that was kind of one of the big pushers to get me, well, and social media and the internet has helped push me more to just online sales, commission work, because I don't think that's fair to the followers of my art that they're having to pay a premium because I'm showing in a gallery. I want to encourage them to buy directly from me as the artist, and that's kind of where I'm at as of today.
Mhm.
And actually, since there is social media, so it's pretty easy to get my name out there and get exposure to new clients, I still
Yeah.
will submit to shows that I feel passionate about or I really like the theme. Um, but I've definitely downplayed the amount of me wanting to actually make a sale from that show. It's more about, this is a theme I believe in and a concept I believe in, so I'm going to be a part of it for me, rather than looking at it as a way to make money.
No, I totally understand that because in the music industry, it's the same thing, and it's getting a lot worse. Because of streaming. Um, you know, they don't have the bands have to sell a ton of merch to be able to do anything,
Right.
and there's venues out there that are actually taking from the musicians. They said if you're going to put a table here, you have to give us 10% of your sales or 20% of your sales.
Right.
even though they bought onto a show
Yep.
and they're paid all this gas and did all this stuff, now they have to give money for that too. That's, I mean, it's ridiculous. Um, but uh, but yeah, this is definitely, I appreciate this type of conversation that we're having because it's a different facet in creativity, and it's something that I don't really think it's talked enough about. Um, but it's still creative nonetheless, and there should be more people out there talking about it, and creating awareness about like what you just talked about too, because there's a lot of people that believe in, let's dump our stuff in an art gallery, or put it up somewhere where they're taking, like you said, 40 to 50% of that money, and then they're wondering why it's so expensive to buy a piece of art now. And that's an eye opener for a lot of people. That's why they're called starving artists, right? you know
Which is really funny because historically speaking, artists weren't. The starving artist is a myth. Most famous and historically, master artists, as they were called, most of them had investors and funding and actually quite a lot of money. So it's kind of morphed into this idea that artists should be starving or they shouldn't be making a profit from their work, or um, artists like Salvador Dali were seen as sellouts for marketing themselves. And I mean, in today's world, you have to market and sell yourself to an extent, just because otherwise you are going to kind of be at the mercy of a third party to sell your work for you. And it's always been my hope to try to like keep my art as accessible as possible, and try to like find that line between, obviously I want to get paid for my time and my supplies, but I don't want to be so expensive that now it's just become ridiculousness. I'm not expecting to make $50,000 an hour or $10,000 an hour. And just kind of striking that middle ground with pricing, and a lot of that does have to do with that encouraging people to buy directly from me as the artist, work directly with me.
Yeah, and you know, kind of diving into, I want to circle back to a couple of things you said. With the being an alt model,
Mm-hmm.
I know the ad, right? One of your photos that I worked into it. Art of shibari is amazing, and do you have a portfolio that people could see, or is that one of those things that you kind of like that's a part of your life that you're not really doing anymore, or are you
I'm
still
kind of
involved?
not doing it anymore, mostly because I'm trying to focus currently more on my art as opposed to someone else's art. Um, I mean, I definitely feel like if a project came up and it was really interesting, I would probably take it on, but it's not something I'm exploring or actively doing right now.
Gotcha, gotcha. And then I know we talked, a little bit ago, before the podcast, and in regards to, like I said, the demons thing for one, but also we were talking about like the spirituality in art, and then also dreams with creatives. Like we said, we unlock something at night somehow, or whatever time you fall asleep. But it seems like we have such different lucid and vivid dreams versus what you normally hear. And if you want to touch on that, that'd be incredible.
Yeah, I definitely think that there's something with creatives or with myself in general where I will have extremely vivid dreams that sometimes end up turning into an idea. Um, just because they'll have nothing to do with what's going on with my life. I don't attribute them to any sort of processing of information that happened during my waking time. And like to the point where they'll be like strangers in my dreams that I don't even know how they are. And I've come to kind of also distinguish some of those dreams, which I think were perhaps a creative idea that needs further processing that I probably was already thinking about when I was awake. Um, and I distinguish that from dreams that are obviously related to what happened to me during the day. Because I do have those too.
Yeah, there's always that reflection on a day, or maybe, last week that something got unlocked. And like the one I told you off air, it's weird how our minds can illustrate something that was traumatic, and it was it turns into something beautiful, or maybe it's dark beauty, if you want to say.
Right.
um and I noticed that with some of your artwork too. I'd like to elaborate on, for especially for aspiring artists, how to be able to get those jobs commissioned, and um, where's a safe, I guess, number for them in the beginning. Because I mean, once you start to get known, yeah, you could change the price point. But starting out, I mean, there's a lot of people out there that are like on apps called Fiverr, and they're doing all these like little 5, 10, $25 things. They should be getting more money,
Oh,
you know.
yeah, for sure. I'm a part of a lot of like artist groups, and there's definitely a lot of newer artists with very low pricing. And in a sense, if you're, right out of high school or right out of college, having gone to school for art, I part of me understands that desire to like keep your art, not price people out of your art. But ultimately, I don't think that's what's happening. I think they're getting clients solely because it's so inexpensive that the customer themselves is lowering the bar. Like if I showed you something that I created and it was only $10,
Yeah.
how good does it have to be? Or how much
Right.
effort would have had to have gone into it for you to go, yeah, whatever, it's $10. I think
Yeah.
I think that is also happening. I do think that there's some self-esteem issues that go into pricing because you're new and you haven't sold. And um I still think that you should, especially, I can't speak for digital art a whole lot, but when you're in the tangible art world, I do think you should at least be getting your cost of materials back, even if you have those feelings of I'm brand new, I just, want experience with commissions. I still think that, cost of canvas, cost of paint, um, a little bit of cost of brushes should be in there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, how they say cost of goods sold versus, like, your durable goods, like you said, the paintbrushes and things that you'll utilize in different projects. Um, there's always that sliding scale. So you're thinking like, all right, well, it's a different medium, different type of canvas or something like that. It might be a little more unique. I think that's what a lot of newer artists have to really, put into play.
Yeah,
You know,
medium, in my opinion, makes a big difference, especially as a newer artist starting out. Um, that's not to say that I think a graphic designers should only be charging $5 for their work. Absolutely not. Because even if you're only putting 2 hours worth of work in, I mean, what are we doing at the end of the day? Like, if you're not making minimum wage, if you look at it on an hourly perspective, and a lot of artists put, even if you think of like pre-contemplation, contemplation, sketching, because graphic designers sketch too. And I'm sure some people don't believe that, but most graphic designers digitally sketch. So there's that sketching phase. And then when you actually create the piece of work. So most of the time, I would find it hard to believe that on a commission, you're not putting at least 4 to 5 hours into a piece. And then if you look at these artists online that are saying they sell commissions for $5 to $10, you're paying yourself $1 an hour.
Right, right.
I mean, and who are these clients with that expectation? That's not even fair to a brand new artist. Like,
yeah,
because really, are they brand new? They might be brand new to the professional world, but I mean, I took art all through basically, as long as I could remember, I took as many art classes as I could take.
Yeah, same here.
So I, had been practicing my craft for, especially by the time I graduated college, well over 8 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I kind of lean on, you said about the sketching phase. I hand draw my stuff and kind of get like a small sketch going, and then I'll go onto the computer, look at my sketch, and I'll redesign it on the computer, which is, a lot of people give me crap for that, but it's something that I've always done, and I feel comfortable with pen and paper or pencil and paper
I
to kind of
have
get the
heard of other
concept
digital
going.
artists doing that, especially because a lot of those programs, if viewers don't know, you can create layers. So you could make a sketch on
Yeah.
paper, scan it in your computer or take a photo of it, and then layer over the top and create your final product.
Yeah, I actually lay my sketches onto a tablet, a regular drawing tablet, not, an iPad or something like that, but I'll sketch onto the tablet. It goes right in Illustrator.
Yeah.
So it's basically the same thing. It just it's easier to, customize, I guess, for the lack of a better term.
Yeah.
We did touch on something, and we actually brought it up a little bit too. Um, with the aspiring artists and a lot of people is woulda, shoulda, coulda things, kind of like that post that we just talked about. Um, the maybes and the possibly I'll get to that, or I'll do that soon. The way you said it was pretty profound. Um, it you just got to go do it. Don't wait.
Yeah, I think
Even if it's like your first one or your 100th one, just get them out there.
yeah, I'm not accusing anyone or blaming anyone, but I do think that just people in general, and it definitely applies to artists, is like, I'm waiting for the best idea before I do anything, or I'm waiting to fully develop this before I start. Just start drawing, because you're probably going to have 20 bad ideas before you have a good one. But I think it helps you get to the good idea by working through all the other ones and all the other steps and processes along the way. And the added bonus is now you've gotten that much more practice at your craft. Because I kind of mentioned off camera the idea of a musician not picking their guitar up only when they're going to write a song. They practice. So
Right.
if nothing else, all those bad ideas are really just practice for you.
Yeah, that's why it's called sketching.
Right. Yeah, that's why we have
Yep.
sketchbooks, and
Yep.
then when you get to one that you want to work on further, great. And even still, not every finished product is going to be a masterpiece,
Right.
and that's
Yeah, and the
that's
thing
okay.
is like that's even with the music and comedy. I mean, there's an open mic. You know, you're out there just kind of throwing it out there and kind of seasoning your soup. You know, does it taste good yet? And if it doesn't, then
Yeah.
you throw that one in the garbage. And I think everybody should do that. I know it's scary. I know it's uncomfortable, but why do you want to be comfortable? I mean, you can be comfortable when you're laying down, like that or a dirt nap.
Right. Well, and
Like either way, then you're comfortable.
right. And I don't know if some of this is difficult for new artists because of there, and I don't even want to call it generational. I think it's just in general, we as a society and culture have moved towards validation from social media. So,
A
if
hundred
I'm
percent.
posting my work and I'm not getting X number of likes or X number of comments, well, is my art not good enough?
Right.
And that has nothing to do with it because I mean, I'm fairly active on social media, but I also schedule all my posts out. So on days that I have time, that's when I do that stuff. Or that's when I
Exactly.
backlog
Me
all
too.
my progress pictures, which I can get into more why I find posting progress to be so important. Um, but I schedule all that out because I am a working artist. So my focus is on art making. It isn't on being on social media and being online. And I think that that's something that's really important for new artists is just because you're not getting the following that you thought you needed online does not mean that you're either not going to sell or not going to get picked for juried shows. Um, they kind of operate. They're kind of separate from each other.
Well, it's funny because I just watched a comedic podcast, and the name escapes me. It really doesn't matter, but they were talking about that. The likes, comments really don't matter because the especially the higher level comedians won't even read the comments because they're like usually it's crappy. They'll say something stupid or that there's a Karen out there, as they say.
Right.
Um, but they look at the views of that piece,
Yeah.
and it's 100% right because I mean, if there's something beautiful there, people are going to look at it because it's going to be public.
Right.
And if it's in your algorithm, if you do it right and you know how to kind of screw with the algorithm a little bit and make you a priority, then yeah, you're doing your job. Plus, as soon as that algorithm hits and they see how beautiful it is, they're going to follow you. um, and if they don't, they suck.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
I mean,
uh, but uh, I gotta jump into this because I know we were talking a little bit off air, and I told you about some of the things that we're going to come up with. This is more of the fun part of it, I guess.
okay.
Yeah. So unless you have more to touch on, I mean, of course we can keep going.
Oh, I'm good.
But
I'm good.
I
Let's go
do.
to the fun stuff.
Yeah. All right. So the idea of conspiracy theories. I've had a couple of conversations with people recently, and I think some of them are so wildly they're insane. They're insane. Like, all right, come on. Like the alien thing and the building of the pyramids and all this other crap, fine. But I've heard some. I can't wait to post them. I'm not even going to put it on here because I want to post them because they're so ridiculous. Um, but if you have any, thoughts like that or conspiracy theories that you kind of follow and see, like, I guess that maybe makes sense, but Otherwise, tell me a wild one that you heard and you're like, God, this is horrible.
I think the ones that I follow the most are now that they're able to do LiDAR scans, Antarctica and everything that's buried under the ice, or the alleged like Hitler bunker in Antarctica, and that's where the Nazis went. And now that we're able to do LiDAR scanning, they're going to figure out what's under the ice. Those are really interesting to me. And the Amazon jungle, because very similar. They're finding that there's structures and hidden pyramids, because most of those places in the Amazon you can't actually get to. But now with like drone technology, LiDAR technology, they're able to actually like scan portions of the Amazon.
That's crazy. I just looked it up quick because I don't think, I mean, I'm sure I've heard of LiDAR, but I looked it up and that's wild that they could do that.
Yeah.
Um, that's bananas.
Yeah. So, I mean, I
God,
think part of
now I'm
the
gonna deep dive. Now I'm gonna deep dive for like hours. Thank you.
right. I just
I'll
sent you down a
probably
rabbit
not
hole
sleep
for
for 3 days.
sure. Because
Yeah,
it's like it's kind of conspiracy theory only because I would almost call it more speculation than conspiracy theory, because we're gonna figure out what's under there because we can scan all those places now. We're just not there
yeah.
yet.
That's yeah. That one has a little more reality
Right.
than some of the ones that I've heard. I mean, like, here's the thing. All right, with Martians.
But they already admitted
And
those are real. So I don't it's not a conspiracy theory anymore.
well, that and I'm like, God damn it, I would like to see one. I guess I got to move to Kentucky or Tennessee or Virginia.
Right.
Why are they picking on those people?
Can we just
Why are the aliens going there? Like,
now
all
you're
right,
gonna have to
you know what?
interview
I'm gonna say
somebody
it.
from one of those states and ask them what's up. Why do they only go
You know
there?
what it is because they're inbred. They're just like,
Maybe.
all right, well, you guys do that stuff. Aliens do it, so we'll do it. You know, sorry, but uh, I told you there was a warning in the beginning. Uh, but I'm gonna jump into this roast. So
Okay.
ChatGPT. Well, before I start this, we're gonna have a competition. I'm gonna try to say your last name. You try to say mine.
Oh my god, I can't say your last name.
I don't even know if I could say yours.
I feel like I said it to you though. That's like cheating.
You did, but I can't remember it because it was on that video, and I was more into the graphic.
Okay, I'm gonna try. I have the spelling right in front of me.
Yeah,
Brostowski.
it's close. That's usually what everybody says, but
Oh,
you're close to the Polish version, which is Brostowski,
okay.
which sounds like I feel like a mafia head at that point.
It would have been cheating though if I knew the country of origin, because then I would have known more how to pronounce it right.
Here it's like Brzezowski, which I mean they have to accent every freaking letter in that thing. That's got more consonants than vowels. So it's like, and yours is it Riemenschneider?
No, it's Riemenschneider because it's German.
Riemenschneider. Oh God! All right, I off air. I gotta tell you a German joke that my dad told me years ago. I can't say it on air. It's so anti-Semitic, but I got in trouble with HR in my old job. Let's just say that. All right, so I'm gonna jump into what ChatGPT wrote about you as
Okay.
roast jokes. They're lighthearted. I never try to dive into something where people are, like, what the hell did you write that about? Um, so it says Nicole doesn't write with, or excuse me, Nicole doesn't paint with color. She negotiate. Oh my God! Apparently, I don't know how to talk now. Nicole doesn't paint with color. She negotiates with shadows.
Oh, that's a good one.
I like that one. I like that
I was
one.
gonna say I actually like that one. I kind of take that as a compliment.
I'll send you these because I did that on the last podcast. I'll send you all the ones. I'm just gonna kind of skip through them,
Okay.
but there's a good list here.
Oh, sweet.
Um, Her idea of light work is emotionally devastating but aesthetically pleasing. Uh, let's see here. She doesn't have a comfort zone. It's just a wall decorated void. I don't know about that one. Um, Her color palette is 90% darkness and 10% you won't understand.
I mean, that's true.
Uh, this one this is the one that I kind of laughed about a little bit. Nicole doesn't tell stories. She slowly unravels them until you're uncomfortable.
Oh, that's a good one too. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Every brushstroke feels like it comes with a backstory you weren't ready to hear.
Yeah, that's
That one's
accurate.
all right. That one's all right.
That one's pretty good.
Nicole's art isn't for everyone, and honestly, she prefers it that way. That's not even a That's not even a roast. That's actually kind of nice.
Right. I feel like most of these are
Uh,
compliments.
I know. I'm like, maybe I should have went a little harder on this, because this is like the second time I've read it. But this one here, she could turn a sunset into an existential crisis. Oh my god. I mean, you have like beautiful artwork. I don't know why it's talking about like you're like this, you know, demon of art. Uh I think it has to do with the fact that it read everything on Facebook and it was like it probably saw the art autopsy
Oh, art
or like
autopsy, yeah.
autopsy, yeah, and then like stuff like that. And it says her version of brightening things up is slightly adding less darkness. That was the last one. I know I got the same snort kind of giggle. Um, but yeah, yeah. So there's more, but they're fun. I like doing these at the end. It just seems like it you know adds lightness.
Yeah.
You know, but so at the end, and this has been a fun conversation. At the end, I'd like for you to just tell everybody what you're doing. What's coming up, how to get a hold of you. Everything basically, your socials, everything.
Oh, okay. Um, Currently working on actually some resin pieces and about to start another commission painting. I can be found on Facebook at my name, Instagram, Nicole Riemenschneider _art, and on my website, nicole.riemenschneider.com.
That's actually the other thing I put into ChatGPT was your website, so maybe that's where it pulled some stuff from.
Oh, probably.
Um, yeah, that makes
Yeah,
more
because
sense
some of
now.
my blog is mostly art history, and art history
Yeah,
is pretty dark. So
yeah, it is. Yeah, I like the fact that you pulled up the Scream. That was one of
yeah.
my favorite paintings.
Well,
You know.
it's like a new series that I started on Facebook. I called it Art Autopsy, but I wanted to take a deeper look both at specific pieces of art and
Hmm.
types of art and analyze, especially for those not in the art world, like why does this piece hit hard for so many people? Like why does it resonate? And kind of explain out what the artist did and some of the elements of that we use in art making that make pieces powerful. Because a lot of that has to do with color theory, composition. I know artists like hate the word rules. They There are
Hmm.
rules to creativity and individuality, but there are theories or rules to making a good composition, using color properly so that it draws you in and gets your attention.
Yeah, and that's funny that you said color theory. I actually was a tutor in college for color theory,
Okay.
and I taught Photoshop in college. And but when you said the color theory thing, I'm like, oh my god, I forgot about that. That was 26 years ago, you know. Uh, but but yeah, it's wild how like you said, the rule thing. You know, you have the rule of thirds, even with like photography, videography. You always want to keep the composition moving, you know, keep their eye, you know, in the composition, not drifting off left or right. Um, you know, I think it's very important to have that flow, you know.
Yeah, no,
And
I've tried to bring it up before, and it's very controversial to say that art has rules. Like
you're right.
your
You're
ideas
right.
don't have rules. Your concepts don't have rules, but they're just like in making a chord on a guitar,
Hmm.
there there's rules to proportion and perspective.
Exactly.
Um,
Yeah, you have color theory, you have music theory. I mean, like there's in creativity, there's still theories and rules. You
right.
know, there's science to it.
Like how you come to the finished product, there aren't any rules in that, but um yeah, I don't know. I don't know why that's so controversial, but it definitely is. I definitely felt like I'm like if I keep going down this stream of trying to tell artists that there's actually rules to art making, I'm gonna get canceled for sure.
Right?
That and
No, but the thing is,
God, we didn't touch on it yet. AI right now in
oh
art is
yeah,
like
yeah.
is such a hot topic. Um, and I actually try to not be controversial on my socials because that's not the point of them. And my
Right.
art is not, I'm not going to say it's not controversial, but it's not political. It's not, I don't dive into AI with my art, but I kind of started saying stuff about it on my socials because not only is it become such an issue for artists, it's also now entering like spaces where artists sell, like Etsy. Now there's just a bunch of generative AI photos of merchandise, of fake products that they're trying to sell to people. And, Etsy markets itself as this handmade marketplace.
Yeah.
And although
Yeah.
I don't feel intimidated, but I don't think AI is better than me. I do think that if customers have too many negative experiences with fraud, it's
Hmm.
going to make selling work more difficult.
Yeah, 100%. And I've come across that a lot, uh, where people are like, even in the construction industry that I was in, there's always that where like a handyman's doing something and they do half the process, and then all of a sudden they're left hanging with like it's not the finished product, and
Right.
that happens with design too. Um, you know, and AI is like eating up the creative world in the sense of you know, music with art stuff like that. But it's, you know, like you brought up earlier about the font thing, and went and went, yeah, you're right. I remember seeing that. Um,
Yeah, it's hard
you
because
know,
like I look at stuff that's made and I go, well, how do I know it's AI? Because ChatGPT
mhm,
uses the same font for every post it creates.
yeah,
But is everyone aware of that? Or there's I know one of the posts that I made about AI was right after I saw a video. It's like this like goth girl is telling her sob story with her dad about these like dark, creepy lamps she makes. It's all AI. The whole video, the whole, like, her process was all AI.
That's ridiculous.
So, I
Like,
mean, and that's kind of why I've gotten to, I like to post process, but I'm also aware that even AI can make fake process
mhm.
videos. So I try to do posts about it in video and photo form, and I like to do photos that aren't perfect too, like showing my workspace, because I don't have a polished art studio. That's not real. I don't think any artist has a polished, clean, nice looking art studio. And sometimes I don't
No,
work
we're
right.
all. I was gonna say we're all pigs. I mean,
Right,
when
like
it comes to that,
right,
it's
and like
so
paint
such a
gets on
mess usually.
everything, resin gets on
Yep.
everything. I mean,
Yep.
so I like to do pictures of that too, just also to show
Hmm.
like, no, this is real. This is in a real place. This is really at my house.
Yeah. Yeah, and the thing is, you brought up the AI thing again. We talked about that commission that you did with a friend. You did an earn.
Yeah, a friend of mine asked, well, actually her wife asked me and another one of her friends to make an urn box. And um the reference photo that she sent was from Etsy, claiming it was handmade, and but like at these ridiculously low prices. And scrolled through the photos, all AI. God only knows what product would have shown up had they chosen to order it through Etsy and not have us make it in real life.
Could have been a stamp box. You
Right.
know, like how am I going
Or
to
it's
fit all those
tiny.
ashes in
It's
this
like
damn
this
thing?
like 2x3 box.
This isn't an Asian uh, urn. We can't
Right.
fit
Like
a little person in here.
we didn't get a box for a ferret. Like we need a people size
Right.
box.
Yeah. It's like 13 of those, and you just pour a little bit of ash in each one and stack them like Legos, you
Right.
know?
Well, I was just imagining uh because the cover was resin and wood to give that river table look. At like, is it a sticker? Is it just a picture of a river table that they've made that size and stuck on the top so it looks like that? It's not even actually resin.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it because, and that and the invention of a 3D printer, you know, um, which is cool. I mean, I've done a lot of 3D printing,
Yeah.
but something like that, I don't know, it leans on the personal. Like, why would you want to do it, have a machine do it, You should
Right.
have somebody's hands involved, because there's a lot more meaning behind it, you
Well,
know.
and it the deceptive tactics are what irritate me and what make me concerned that is this going to make other people that come to Etsy not buy from real artists? Because there's some incredible artists. Like I've bought originals from artists on Etsy. Like, is that going to now make people not want to trust Etsy? Because there are these vendors now that are selling fake Timu Alibaba knockoffs of artist products.
And now that you say that, maybe that's uh the lean and the callback to the art gallery, farmers markets, antique markets, whatever you want to sell at.
Yeah.
Maybe that's going to be a thing for, tangible artwork, um, where it's not going to die then. I had to write an essay called Death of the Book, and it was off the Newberry Library in Chicago, and we had to walk around and basically look around because the internet was becoming very prominent at the time. It was like 2000 or maybe 99, So it was still infantile. You know,
Mhm.
it wasn't as big as it is now. And I realized, like, as soon as the internet blows up more so, that book is going to be gone. Like, the tangible book is going to be gone. And it almost reminds me of, like, you know, the past with book burnings and stuff like that, but in a digital way, in a sense.
Right. I try
And
to stay positive with tangible books and even with tangible art because
yeah,
there is a subset of people that like that's their rebellion is I will never read a book off of the
yeah,
computer. I will never read a book from a tablet. I will only read physical books or I will only own tangible art. And I have heard that a lot from clients that I have had recently is
yeah,
that in some ways AI and a lot of this fake stuff is having a different effect on them. It's actually making them want the real stuff more. So
yeah,
I'm trying to hold out hope that, you know, AI actually has an opposite effect of what the big conglomerates want it to have and it actually causes a rebellion and people to go no I want records, I want
yeah.
real art. I
I swear to
mean
God, you're hitting a
people are
spot.
like buying DVDs again because they're sick of streaming.
Yeah. It's
So
funny that you're saying that because there's a few comedic bits that I've heard, and also and they make a great point. Kyle Kinane, he's out of Chicago, great comedian. He was in a ska band I've opened for him years ago. Um, he talks about the relationship between um, vinyl and digital,
mhm,
and the way it was with Playboy and porn. And he's like, you know, you gotta hold it and be able to like turn the page. And you know, it analog and digital, you know, it's like, you know, you want to be able to feel that in front of you. And I'm like going, which one are you talking about? Are you talking about porn or vinyl? You know? And it was the weirdest interview I ever heard in my life. And then another bit that I heard from Rat Rife, he talks about he had two people in the audience. He's a great crowd worker, and he's talking to one guy. He had long hair, looked like an '80s rocker, and he read books. He was like in his 20s,
mhm.
and he read books, and it's like within the last 3 years, 2 years, which is, you know, that's unique and very rare to hear somebody that reads books still, right?
Yeah.
The next person he talks to looks like one of the guys from Step Brothers, and he's like, "So what do you do?" He's like, "I play Fortnite," and they're both lonely. You know, one guy reads books, the other guy is into Fortnite and like
Yeah.
online and stuff like that. And here it is again, the analog and digital. It's like, you know, how about talk to each other? You know, that'd be
Right.
pretty cool, right? Kind of like what we're doing now. I think it'd be, you know, I'm hoping this inspires some people, even though we've had a little bit of fun. We had, you know, had a good talk. I do, I do want people to start to understand that creativity isn't lost, but don't allow certain things to, you know, it's easy enough for a keystroke and all of a sudden you have some artwork that looks the same as you said, you know, with the font thing. I mean, why does Adobe have over 6 million fonts?
Right.
You know, I make my own fonts sometimes for band logos, you know, but it's like it's to the point where it's so easy and efficient, but it's going to look all the same and mass produced. And that's why, like with what you do, every piece is unique because, you know, there's a brushstroke, there's a pencil. Even when you said there might have been a little bit of you know, a mistake, as you said, you know, to make it look and feel like, hey, you know what, this person actually put effort into this and actually put their pen to paper versus like, oh, I drew this quick and I threw it through AI and this is what came out.
Right.
You
Well,
know,
and I'm a little unique too, is I don't sell any prints. So anytime
oh
someone is
wow,
getting a
so
piece
it's a
from
one
me,
off.
It is a one-off original piece of work.
Oh, that's great. Wow. That's good because, I'm sure people will try to replicate something, but uh it'll be hard pressed to be able to match it exactly. Because I mean, if you're giving them that piece of paper and you flip it over and you can see the bleed through, or the pencil that kind of carved into the paper, that's where it's at. That's
Right.
where beauty lies in art. And I think a lot of people have lost that over the years because of this digital realm. You know, yeah, even prints. I mean, those things have been around since what, the 80s and 90s, like lithographs and stuff like that. That doesn't really match the original art.
Um, yeah, I mean, and I don't even blame lithography or even screen printing. You can do pretty close proximities. It's gotten to the world now where it's like professional printing companies where it is literally ink from a printer printing onto um and I think that's why I've gotten so against it is I look at printmaking slightly differently than a print off of when in printmaking you can make one-offs as well.
Yeah, sure. Like especially like stamping and stuff like that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know I forgot what company does it, but they have canvases that uh it literally does bleed through slightly as they print it.
Mhm.
So it looks like a real piece, which is fraudulent to me in a bit. You
Yeah.
know, I don't really like it,
Especially if
but
you're doing it in a way because yet again another thing that I've seen videos of is people showing their work like it is their work, and to somebody who has been doing this for nearly 20 years, I can tell it's not a real painting. It is a smooth flat surface
yeah,
that was printed on, and now you're trying to lead your viewers to believe that you're selling them an original painting when you're not.
no, exactly. Yeah, that's kind of what I was getting at, and that's kind of we're in a time that uh fake media is not only the news, you know,
Yeah.
uh, it's everywhere. It's all facets. It doesn't matter what it is. I mean, even like these stupid videos of a shark jumping in the air and eating 12 people, and then you're
Right.
finding out it's like a freaking AI thing, and I'm like,
Yeah,
oh
and
my
like for
god,
as
this is so
funny as
stupid.
like I mean, I think AI can be hilarious and I've seen
Oh
some
yeah,
super fun, you know what I mean? Like I'm not so against AI. I
yeah,
just
me neither.
it's just one of those like we need to have our critical thinking caps on and we need to be able to
Yeah,
question the things that we're seeing because videos of people and events now are fake.
yeah, and that's gonna make paranoia.
That's going to
You
make
know,
for some good conspiracy theories though.
there you go. Well, I mean, this has been great. Like I told you earlier, I'm gonna cut this off here, but yeah, that was a great conversation.
Yeah, for sure.
Uh, yeah, we got to do more of these. I'd like to do some like shorter ones,
Okay.
and but yeah, just again, so I can kind of cut this piece out.
Okay.
Um, just say your name again, your socials, your website, and then say you know goodbye or whatever. You know what I mean?
Okay,
Like
yep.
just close out.
All right. Okay. So I'm Nicole Riemenschneider. Thank you so much for watching. You can catch me on Facebook at Nicole Riemenschneider, Instagram, Nicole Riemenschneider _art, or at my website, nicole.riemenschneider.com. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.